the courage to move forward.
In 2018, almost 3 years after the attack, the San Bernardino County December 2nd Legacy Report was published. It was intended to be a publicly available resource for communities and organizations that must respond and recover from similar situations. Already, that report is helping other families and other communities learn from your experience.
In America's largest county, you can get in touch with our recent history or journey all the way back to our ancient past. Camp, hike, fish, or just relax in diverse natural areas. Get up close with local wildlife, knowing your support makes their rehabilitation possible. And discover how our libraries connect you to cutting-edge technology and out-of-this-world experiences. In San Bernardino County, you'll find every adventure. San Bernardino County, opportunity plays here.
In 2006, my husband and I, we ended up homeless. We had this piece of property out here in Lucerne, so we moved on to that with our motorhome. And then code enforcement officer, Sherry Road Truck, showed up at our doors. She told us that we couldn't live where we were living because we didn't have any permits.
Regarding Sandy's case, the county has codes established and zoning requirements that would prohibit the recreational vehicles being used as a residence. The reason why is because we often encounter issues like hazardous utility connections, improper waste disposal, and insufficient protection against the weather. These conditions can be dangerous for all involved.
We were actually escorted off our property. The lifestyle I was living wasn't very conducive to family, and I decided I needed to do something different. So that's actually started steps towards me changing my entire lifestyle.
Our officers are trained to establish a dialogue with the people involved. Through these conversations, we can gain a better understanding of their circumstances. This allows us to ensure people don't feel trapped or stuck in their circumstance. By connecting them with the right resources, we help them take steps towards a safer and more stable living situation.
2008, we got our house. I remember the first time I saw the two halves on the property and I started to cry. It was actually my very first home ever, and it's still our home today. I told the code enforcement officer, Sherry, I haven't had a single drink since. And I reached in my pocket and pulled out a sobriety chip to show her. She just set us on the path we're on today. I ended up going back to school. I got my GED and my associate's and bachelor's degrees. In 2022, I got a job with our county library, Lucerne Valley Branch Library. I have a life today thanks to code enforcement. Bless their hearts.
If you find yourself in a situation such as Sandy's, please contact our office. Our staff is here to help answer any question you have and get you on the right path. We're here to work with you.
Working with Children and Family Services, we met the most amazing people who were so supportive of not only our sweet Nora, but our entire family and our biological children as well. Our adoption story started way back in 2016. We were on a vacation in a third world country. God immediately began stirring in my heart this desire to adopt a child. My husband, Brett, definitely wasn't on the same page, at least not immediately.
One of the main aspects of fostering that we were concerned about was how is this going to impact our own children? What we found out is that our kids grew so much, not only in their faith, but they grew in learning about the family dynamic. And I think it's going to help them when they become fathers and husbands.
We received a call for a little girl who was 3 days old. She was ready to be discharged from a local hospital and needed a place. I immediately said yes to that call without even calling Brett and asking. We quickly learned that her plan and the goal set forth for her through the social workers and CFS was to reunify with her family. We parented her for 17 long, wonderful, beautiful months. We did every doctor appointment, visit, therapy session, assessment, everything we did with her biological parents, being on the side of reunification and being able to be the hands and feet of God here on earth and helping a family who was struggling get back on their feet and provide them the support in raising their child when they couldn't do it themselves turned out to be our highest honor. A few months later, we received a call from our foster family agency about a little baby who was just 2 days old and specifically wanted a placement in our town because she had 2 biological brothers that were placed in a foster family close by. Again, I immediately said yes without asking Brett, and we quickly learned that reunification efforts would likely not be met, and that she would be a child who would be placed for adoption. Hearing that as a foster parent who had just had the glorious deed of helping reunify a family, knowing that this was likely not going to be that same happy ending. So we were mixed emotions, sad for a family who was breaking, but also very hopeful that maybe this is where God called us back in 2016. Maybe this was all for her and this is where we were supposed to be.
Community and friends really helped our family through our process through foster and adoption. We love these girls with all of our hearts, just like our biological children, because that's what every single one of these kids in either foster care or adoption needs. They need someone, they need a family, a warm, loving family, each and every day.
The support we received from Children and Family Services made everything okay. They provided us resources, offered different classes, or just picked up the phone and called us and said, like, how's everything going?
Taking the initial step is sometimes the hardest for people to do. Whether it's in your faith, whether it's actually talking to someone in Children and Family Services, it's that initial step, and I think more people that do that, these kids will have amazing homes.
If you have love to give to a child, even if you are afraid that you are going to break when they leave, you are the right person to sign up for foster care, because the system needs people who love children. And if you can love children well, then you will be a fantastic foster parent. And that is what I tell people all of the time. As long as you can love children well, this is a job for you, or this is a calling for you.
We're at Paris Hill Park here in San Bernardino, and we're here to assess all of the individuals that are staying here and sources with the ultimate goal to house everyone.
The number of homeless that were here has increased significantly since I first started here with San Bernardino County. So the city has been working and speaking with us about how do we make those next steps. There's a lot of seniors here. There's families here that I found today with kids. So we're trying to make those connections to get those individuals out right now.
We moved to Washington State.
And during the time that we were there, we got on Section 8. We lived out there for about 5 years, and then we wanted to come back home.
But I had to tell them, hey, it's going to be a process because we have to transition from state to state.
During the time that we sent for the transfer for our Section 8 to come back over here, it took like almost 6 months.
It's been a minute, you know what I'm saying? They said that they were going to put me up in a room and help me out as long as I'm willing to, you know, figure out my situation.
We don't really have a lot of family or nothing like that. And this is where we were in the meantime. This is not where we want to be, but we had to go through this transition.
They have a plan in place. They were able to, show that. And so with the city motel voucher program for the interim, we're able to put them there while they wait for their permanent housing to be in place.
I have a home now, so that's the good thing about it.
And we're thankful that we met you guys and we met the people that that helped us, succeed into moving on in our lives.
What we're trying to do is not only make a connection and have them feel like here's another group that's coming through to talk to us, but actually get them to connected so that they can get into some level of housing support.
We're finally getting back on track, and I just want to thank you guys for that.
San Bernardino County has always been the biggest, and once again, we're the best. This year, we earned an incredible 200 achievement awards from the National Association of Counties, winning more than any other county for the third year in a row. There are more than 3,000 counties in the United States, and San Bernardino County continues to stand above them all in terms of accolades for innovation, efficiency, and public service. Under the Board of Supervisors' leadership, we were honored this year for making it easier to adopt a new pet, raising awareness of the dangers of fentanyl, bringing Wi-Fi connectivity to Ayala Park, safeguarding employee emails from phishing scams, cleaning up our communities, rebuilding the Birch Creek Culvert Crossing with storm readiness in mind, launching the County Museum's new and improved website, inspiring the next generation of county employees, improving access to healthcare records, supporting production of new housing units through a housing development fund. And this is just a sample of the 200 national awards that San Bernardino County earned for the services we provide to our residents and visitors.
We have thousands of signs that live in the roadway. Our overall mission is to keep the motoring public safe more than anything.
From here to Needles and then going up north to Trona, as far as county maintained roads. We maintain that whole area. We manufacture 4 different types of signs. There's guide signs that are street name signs. There's also construction signs, warning signs, also regulatory signs, which regulate stuff like speed limits. We start with the Flexi Design program on the computer. Then we transfer the design onto a material, and then we transfer that material to an aluminum blank.
The last step is we put this protective covering 1160 over the sign. Out in the desert, when the sun's beating on a sign, it prolongs the sign. If someone tags the sign with graffiti, it allows us to wipe the graffiti off and it's not going to damage the sign.
We used to do it by hand, a lot of by hands, just like putting a puzzle, just by letters. Now we do 99% printing.
With the HP latex printers, that has really opened things up as far as the possibilities of making more custom signs.
Instead of sending it to a company, it'll take weeks, 2 weeks. Right now we can just do it today and have it ready.
Life happens. An accident that takes out a stop sign. These guys have to go out there in windy conditions when it's super hot, 110 degrees out there. They have to be there to replace the sign.
There's something special about signs, in my opinion, because signs last longer. I've been able to make the sign on the computer, print it out, make it here on the table, go out in the field and put it in the ground, And then as I'm driving by, I can tell my daughter, you know, I made that. So I think that's pretty cool.
Today we are celebrating the installation of a 1923 Ford Model T here at the San Bernardino County Museum. It was donated by Dr. Herbert Fisher and the Fisher family. This car really reflects the development of the car culture in Southern California and really all of America, and it reflects the development of the middle class. The Model T opened up access to travel for most Americans. This car specifically was used in the area in agriculture for the last 70 years.
It's a 1923 Model T Roadster pickup. With our roots, there's 4 generations of us that are from San Bernardino, and I was always very happy to share it with the community.
So because of the connection between our board chair and Dr. Fisher, after meeting with David and some of his staff, he decided to be gracious and give the Model T to the museum here.
The vehicle that has been donated to the County of San Bernardino Museum is here at Fleet because we are going to get it prepped to be able to have it as a display within the museum. And so some of the things we do is drain the
Good morning, everyone. I would like to call this meeting to order and thank you all for being here today.
This morning, our Pledge of Allegiance and invocation will be led by the 4th District.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, everyone. I get the great honor to introduce a good friend of mine, Pastor Mike Spradlin. Pastor Mike Spradlin has been the lead pastor for over 20 years at Chino Valley, or Valley Christian Church, a non-denominational church in Chino, where he previously served as active pastor and interim pastor. He has served the men and women of the Chino Police Department and the city of Chino for over 24 years as a police chaplain, coordinating the department's chaplain program, providing the city on-demand support in critical incidents, crisis intervention, and counseling in personnel issues. I won't go through his whole bio because he's a good friend of mine. He told me not to, but he does have a graduated from Master's College in 1999 with a BA in ministry and from Hope International University with an MA in ministry and church leadership in 2003. He resides in Norco with his wife Carla, has 2 sons, Christian, who's serving the Peace Corps in Peru, and Caden, a senior at California Baptist University. He's a Dodger fan as well. I like to say Bruin, but I think he's more of the SC side. But anyway, Mike, please lead us in prayer and pledge this morning. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. We jump in a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for the opportunity we have to gather together as a community. And Lord, we thank you for this county and for the amazing way that these people behind me serve us day in and day out. And Lord, sometimes it's a thankless job. And so we're going to ask you to bless each one of them for the service that they provide us. And Lord, I know that at times we grumble and complain about government, but Father, we know that you established it for our good. And so, Lord, we're here today to thank you, to rally together as a community. Lord, I ask your protection, your blessing on each person here today, for our community too, as we just start to weather these storms that are coming in, protect our mountain communities and all those that are in the flood areas from the potential that we have. Stay your hand on that, Lord. And so we look to you. Father, I thank you for the business that we're going to accomplish here today. I ask for wisdom and discernment for our leadership, for us as a community to rally behind for the good of us. Because, Lord, there's nothing better than serving your community. Thank you, Lord, for the blessings that you do give us. We trust in you. And I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. Would you join me in a salute to our flag? Ready? Begin.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Hey, Andy.
We will now move on to our memorial adjournments. Vice Chair Baca. Supervisor Armendariz. Ames.
Thank you, Chair. Couple people I want to highlight. Ray Allard, who was born on December 3rd in 1959, passed away at the age of 68 on March 2nd, 2005. Ray was the owner of Allard Engineering in Fontana. Allard Engineering was established in 1992. He moved to Fontana in 1995. Ray was instrumental in a lot of successful developments in Fontana. For example, the Landings, the Arboretum Glen housing community, the Baseline Storm Drain, Business Society. He held lots of different roles in our community. He was the president of the Chamber of Commerce, a board member of the Fontana Boys and Girls Club, county flood commissioner. At one point, he was a county planning commissioner. Many of you may know him as a commissioner. Ray was a father, a husband, and genuinely a good person. My heart breaks for him and his family. He was a great man. He'll always be remembered in the city of Fontana. He is survived by 4 children, 1 stepdaughter, 11 grandchildren, 2 brothers, and 2 sisters. Other person I'd like to highlight is Manuel Ortega, who was the father of West Valley Water District's board member Angie Garcia. Manuel was born on August 8th, 1937. In 1967, he immigrated to the United States, where he had immense pride in being an American citizen. Manuel was survived by his beloved wife, Angela, 5 children, 12 grandchildren, and after retiring, he dedicated his life to caring for his family and his grandchildren. And I can honestly, I can tell you many times where I've been to Angie's house, and her father was fixing up the yard or doing something with the family, picking up the kids from school. He was truly a great man. He will be missed. He passed away at the age of 87. And that concludes my aims.
Thank you very much. Supervisor Cook. Supervisor Hagman.
And thank you.
All right. And I thought that I would adjourn this morning in memory of Gene Hackman because of his interesting history in San Bernardino and with the county in particular. He was born in San Bernardino County. He lived here for about a year, and then he returned when he was 26. He and his first wife rented a home in Musquoy. And during that time, he worked for San Bernardino County Public Health Department and Animal Control. And his mother also worked for the county, and she worked in the Transitional Assistance Department. So I thought that was interesting history, and he will truly be missed in the acting world and wanted to adjourn in his memory today. So thank you very much. We have 2 special presentations, so if I can ask my colleagues to join me in the wall, please. I'd like to ask Don Johnson to please join us. Come on up and join us up here. We'll have the rest of your gang come up for photos after. Good morning. Have you join us front and center? Yeah. I'll have you hold that. This morning, I would like to present this resolution in honor of Don Johnson, who is retiring after 25 years with the county. He began his career as an automated systems technician and later advancing to the role of automated systems analyst. He has significantly contributed to the advancement of technological support within the county. We thank you very much for all of your hard work and dedication to all of us here and our residents who have benefited from your. Pleasure. Thank you. Say a few words.
Sure. I got it. It's cool. No, I just thank you for this opportunity. And now I can join my wife, who retired with 32 years with the county. And so we're going to be doing whatever she wants. And nothing's changed, yeah. Except I don't have to get up early in the morning and come to work. Thank you. But outside of that, I appreciate the opportunity that the county's allowed me, and helping over the years with parks, with the fishing workshops and other things within the county. I hope to be able to fish and continue the likes that that the county's afforded me to be able to do. So thank you all.
Congratulations. Would you like to bring up folks for a photo?
Enjoy your fishing. Thank you for your service.
Next, I would like to ask Robert Escalar to please join us. I'm going to give it to him.
Okay.
Oh. Thank you, though. Good morning. Congratulations. We would like to present this resolution in honor of Robert, who is retiring after 22 years of service to the county. He began his career with Children and Family Services as a social service practitioner, later advancing to Child Welfare Services Manager. We thank you for all the years and dedication that you have given to children and families in all of our communities, and we wish you a very happy retirement. like to say a few words?
First of all, I'm very honored to have received this recognition. I've been very fortunate to have been mentored by an amazing leadership staff who actually made me who I am now. I'm originally from New Mexico, and every time I would pass here during the summers, I never thought I would end up working in San Bernardino County. I was on my way to Santa Monica Pier, but never in San Bernardino. I ended up here eventually, but I'm very grateful for this county. I'm hanging up my hat as a social services worker. I started in 1982 in the field and done many things, but this has been the most rewarding job I've ever had. And I've been very like I said, mentored by amazing leadership, who some of who are out there in the audience, Mr. Jonathan Byers, Diana, and Jeannie Cepeda. She's not here now, but also Deputy Director Valerie Croyle. So I give a lot of recognition to them for who I am. Because of them and the opportunity to rise to a position of leadership, I've learned so much, and I've had the honor of working with many of our leaders in the community, and for that I'm very grateful. Thank you.
Thanks for bringing up their family. Well, congratulations again. Thank you for all the years. All right, we will now move on to our reports from County Council. Tom?
Thank you, Madam Chair. There are no reportable items from closed session.
And reports from our CEO, Luther.
And good morning, Madam Chair. Nothing to report this morning. Thank you.
Very good. That brings us to our individual board member comments. Let's start with our vice chair.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Just want to highlight a few items from the agenda I think are important. Really want to thank our staff. You know, the first one is item 33, to upgrade 3 mobile healthcare units. Really want to thank Public Health for providing more mobile services, making sure that the county is more accessible to the community. And one of the great things that they've done is they provided a mobile dental service, which is great. They could provide it to schools, nonprofits, and other organizations, and just, you know, great services throughout the county. So hats off to Public Health. The other item is item 38. I want to thank Public Works for establishing a speed limit on Easton and Rialto between Cactus and Lilac. And what happened is when the city of Rialto built the Rialto Renaissance, traffic really increased through this corridor. And just really want to thank Public Works for establishing a speed limit for the amount of work. Item 39 is a Public Works street project. I want to thank Madam Chair, working together collaboratively to make sure that we have streets repaired in all of unincorporated Colton. So in the area that she represents near Ritchie Canyon, and also in the 5th District in the center of Colton, those roads are to get rehabilitated, which is a great project for our unincorporated area. And the last item I want to highlight on the agenda is item 48. I really want to thank the San Bernardino City Unified School District for becoming a partner, and we're actually putting a fire station on a school campus. It's actually probably the first of its kind, I think, in our county. Just a great relationship. This action will allow us to expand the footprint, working closely with the school district and our San Bernardino County Fire Department. It's just going to be a great project. It's going to upgrade our fire stations in our committee. And I want to thank Madam Chair for having the opportunity to be appointed to the San Bernardino International Airport Authority, which is right here in San Bernardino. One of the things that one of the goals of SABIA is to really increase flights here in the San Bernardino area. I know many people go to Ontario and Los Angeles, but hopefully this can increase the amount of flights that we have in our community. So look forward to being involved in that process. I just want to highlight a few events. Last board meeting, we had Government Day. We had 100 students from 3 school districts here participating, and I tell you, the great thing about the students was the engagement, the questions they asked, and you know, these are our future leaders. You know, our time is limited here, and hopefully someday we get, you know, future leaders that can come through here. I want to thank Public Works for installing equestrian signs in the Muscoy community. We got a request from a resident that said, hey, you know what, we have a lot of horses. Can you install some equestrian signs? So as a result, Public Works installed 6 equestrian signs. I want to thank Trevor and his team for doing a tremendous job on that. Also, what they did in Muscoy is created a no parking zone on Portola, which was given to us by a constituent from our community. And another item that Public Works did is they completed basketball lights in Kessler Park, which is one of our county special district parks. Want to give a shout out to Caltrans in one of our unincorporated areas of the Del Rosa community. You know, a lot of homeless there. A lot of the fences get cut through and damaged there, which impacts visually for many of our county residents that live in that county pocket in Del Rosa. But Caltrans went out and completed them and fixed them. And a couple more things, just want to invite everyone to the Kessler Field ribbon cutting this Friday, 6 p.m. at Kessler Park. It's a $3.3 million investment. I know that our county staff had a softball game last Friday to kind of break the field in. I think Trevor Leisha had the first home run ever at Kessler Park. I'm jealous it wasn't me, but congratulations, Trevor. But no, it's going to be a great event. I'm looking forward to Lee Lacey and Steve Garvey coming out and welcoming all the kids and families, but it's a great investment. And the last thing is, one of the things our office does every year, it's the 5th year doing it, is we have our Shero recognition. We recognize and highlight, many women from the 5th District that have done tremendous things. One is Toni Calicott. She's the president of the San Bernardino Municipal Water District. We recognize Sergeant Patty Ruiz, who's a sergeant with the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, but also her family lives in Muscoy, and she's from Muscoy. Stephanie Vargas, she's a Colton City clerk, but also a resident of Rosina Ranch. And Nuria Valencia, she's from Bloomington, very active with the Girl Scouts. We recognize her as our super mom. And the last one was Danielle Townshend. She founded Executive Directors Curls, Coins, and Crowns, which is a nonprofit that helps bring self-esteem of women up. So I just want to shout out to those and congratulate those recipients. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Supervisor Armendariz.
Thank you, Chair. I want to start with letting everybody know we held our first community resource fair in the city of Fontana. We believe it was a huge success. We had over 150 people attend, came out and were able to get resources and learn more about the departments in the county. I want to thank everyone who participated from the county, who were able to make all this happen. We got a lot of compliments from the public because they were able to learn a little bit more of what we do as a county. And not only did they walk away with resources, they were actually had some services on the spot that they were able to obtain. So I just want to thank everyone at the county who showed up and participated in our resource fair. It helped them get a better understanding of what we do. Second, I also represented us in DC as our delegate for the National Association of Counties Legislative Conference. It was a great opportunity for me to be able to speak to our legislators and advocate for the county. I wanted to take a moment to thank Congresswoman Norma Torres, Congresswoman Judy Chu, Congresswoman Young Kim, Congressman Jay Obernolte, Congressman Raul Ruiz, Congressman Pete Aguilar, and Senator Schiff for taking the time to meet with us and just discuss the issues that were most impactful to the county and get their assurance that they were going to work with us and cooperate with us on the things that we're trying to accomplish. I want to thank the county board for entrusting me with the responsibility of being able to go out there and advocate on our behalf, and it was a great privilege, and hopefully I spread the word for the county. Also attended the Cypress Storm Drain groundbreaking, and also the Upland Manor Comedy Night with my family, which was very eventful, almost like a Whose Line It Is It Anyway fundraiser for the Upland Manor. And lastly, we will be having our next event hosting, it is called Community with the Supervisor, which it's at a tea shop. Will be held on March 27th from 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. And I hope to see you there. It's at Bubbly City in Rancho. Feel free to look up on our website to get the information on where to go for those who are attending, and we'll be talking about the concerns and issues in our community and how we can find an opportunity to partner and be better advocates for our residents. That's all.
Thank you. Thank you. Supervisor Cook.
I have nothing.
Supervisor Hagman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A few things. First of all, it's not bring your wife to work day, but I did bring mine for the first time in I think it's only her second appearance in over a decade. So my wife, Rosanna, thank you for coming today. She's seen what we're doing here. She's usually working herself, so I was able to steal away for that for one day. A couple reports from some of the boards I represent San Bernardino on, IEHB, Inland Empire Health Plan. We had Jesse, first of all, welcome aboard. And Madam Chair, we miss you over there. So we were forced to take new photos because of that. So
Sorry.
yeah, and Jesse was like twitching the whole time, so we kept no, but we've actually, yeah, a half hour into we got our new board photo. We're really watching the legislative changes here on the federal government. We do enroll insurance for over 2.3 million residents of San Bernardino and Riverside with a budget that exceeds over $11 billion now. It's quite a large organization, I think the second largest in the nation. But obviously with the federal government trimming and changing things, we are making contingency plans if those funds do not come through the way that has been in the past. So a lot of prepping and preparing for that going forward. IHP recently gave $1.2 million to First Five for the Healthy Steps program designed to enhance health among the children 0 to 5 years old. So congratulations, First Five, for that. And the district is a busy couple weeks. We spoke to Upland Chamber on February 27th and Greater Ontario Business Council. And that was also a appearance and speaking on that. We're partnering up with Cardenas Foundation on high school or college scholarship program. So we want to say thank you for that organization for stepping up and providing scholarships to our youth to go into college. We also highlighted Ismara Sashimi and Sushi in Upland for being the honored distinguished business of the month. And we're partnering with the city of Chino Hills for a shredding event on March 29th from 9 to 12 at the shops in Chino Hills. If you'd like further information, please contact my field office. Upcoming events, we have Ontario State of City on 3/19, Salute to Public Safety on 3/20, Healthy Family Day in Chino on 3/15, Waterwise Expo on 3/15, and CBWCD Open House and Student Showcase in Montclair on 3/20. I'm also representing as President SCAG, Southern California in Sacramento for the 2 days. I believe it's on the 18th and 19th, too, for our Ledge Days up in Sacramento. And that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. We had a great opportunity as of last month to have a collaboration between two county departments. We have our Department of Aging and Adult Services and our Department of Veterans Affairs who have collaborated to bring services out to the Barstow and the surrounding areas. And so we will now have a Veteran Services Officer out there for assistance with benefits and disability claims on the third Thursday of every month from 9 in the morning until 2 in the afternoon. And I just want to thank both of those departments for working together. It is really hard for Barstow residents to make it down either to the Victor Valley area or down here to San Bernardino. And so that collaboration really aids in all of them and provides a necessary service to those who have served our country. So thank you very much. And with that, we will move on to our agenda. Linda, do we have any changes or revisions to today's agenda?
Good morning, Madam Chair. Yes, we have one change today on item number 14. The revision is to correct the vendor's name to T.R.L. Systems Incorporated. The rest of the recommendation remains unchanged. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. At this time, do we have any board members wishing to disclose a conflict of interest? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to our consent calendar that today consists of items 2 through 52. Any Board of Supervisor wishing to pull an item for discussion or make a comment? Seeing none, I have no request to speak, so all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Thank you, Madam Chair. With that, the consent calendar passes unanimously.
Very good. Our discussion calendar today consists of item number 53. It is the 2025-2026 fee workshop being presented this morning by Matthew Erickson. Good morning. Hi, good morning, Paloma. I should introduce Paloma as well.
Oh, no.
Thank you.
All right. Sorry. Okay. Good morning, Chair Rao, members of the board. My name is Matthew Erickson with County Finance. Today, we are going to be presenting the 25-26 recommended fee workshop for you today. With me is Ms. Paloma Hernandez-Barker. She's the Deputy Executive Officer. She's going to be helping present with me as well today. She's over our fee process. Before jumping in too far into the actual workshop, I did want to take a moment to thank everybody that has worked so hard on the fee process. Behind me, you will see many department heads here, department staff. They've been working very hard for a long time now, preparing fee documents for your review. Along with that, I have my staff here, my finance analysts that do a lot of review for this, along with Paloma, who's kind of the head of that process. And I did want to do a shout out to Jessica Trio. She's a principal analyst in my office that also helps oversee this process. What we're doing today is no action before the board. This is really our first step to kind of go over some notable budget fee changes for you. We are not looking to take any action, but if you happen to have any questions on any notable fee changes, we're here to help address those questions. So next slide, please. Wanted to take a moment to go over our fee program with you. So in accordance with County Policy 0501, it's the board's policy to recover the full cost of services that we provide that are tied to fees in particular. Did want to just take a real quick moment to say a fee is not the same thing as a tax. A fee is something tied to specific services that we're providing for our residents. It has to be tied exactly to the cost of the services we're providing, and that's what we seek to do through this process. The way by which we seek to recover fees is through really a process. We do not look to update every single fee every single year. There's a lot of them, and so we ask departments to approach them by looking at fees that haven't been reviewed within the last 3 years. And so for this fee cycle, we're looking at any fee that hadn't been reviewed prior to fiscal year 22-23. That's what departments would have been looking at to see if there would need to be updates. In addition to that, we ask departments to focus in on high volume related fees. We're not necessarily asking them to look at things that they don't really charge out very often, but we want to make sure that if a department has a lot of costs associated with a particular fee and they're dependent on a revenue, that they are recovering fees associated with that. And then lastly, in accordance with some direction we've been given from the board over the past, we do encourage departments to conduct, basically comparison analysis with other entities or do market studies to make sure that not only are we recovering enough, but also if there's areas of savings potentially. We'll look at other jurisdictions and see if they're doing something maybe different than us. We like to see if there's any efficiencies that may be created as a result of that. Next slide, please. Real quickly, just very big picture, I did want to highlight that fee revenue itself is not a very big component of our revenue for the county budget as a whole. It actually only represents actually less than 3% of the entire budget at $251 million. For this year, we're asking for a net increase of 48 fees, which is an increase of 95, offset by the deletion of 47. Next slide. For a new slide that we wanted to go over this year, we just wanted to go real briefly over the process that we have. As I mentioned, a lot of work has gone into that. It actually starts around September each year, and so our departments begin reviewing all the fees that they have. They start looking at potential revisions that they want to make for the year, and then what they do is they submit it in November to my office. My staff begin reviewing those, asking questions, ensuring that when there's large fee increases that we're understanding really well what may or may not be happening and why. If there's not, just kind of understanding to make sure we're recovering full cost. And then that makes its way all the way up to the publishing of a fee document that we present for your review a couple weeks before this workshop for your review. Today is the fee workshop, as I mentioned. This is really just the first step, no direction being taken, but 2 weeks from now, we are planning to have our fee hearing on March 25th. That would be the real first action that we would take. Hopefully, if you have any changes in between now and that time, we can make some changes for you if you need it, and that would be the first reading, followed by a second reading on April 8th. And so at that point, they would be adopted and go into effect next fiscal year. Besides regional parks that needs to get ready a little bit early for the summer season, theirs would be adopted as of May 10th. With that, next slide. Paloma is going to jump in and go over a lot of the highlighted fees that we have for you, a lot of the different departments. She's going to do a broad overview, not too detailed oriented. That being said, if you happen to have any questions on any of the departments' fee changes that you'd like to find out more about, as I mentioned, we have department heads here that can really help answer some detailed questions. So with that, I'll turn it over to Paloma.
Thank you, Matthew. Good morning again, Chair, members of the board. Paloma Hernandez-Barker, once again, Deputy Executive Officer with CEO Finance. As Matthew mentioned, we wanted to highlight a couple of the changes that departments are proposing for the upcoming fiscal year as it relates to their fees. First, Regional Parks is one of the departments who conducts market studies and comparisons to other jurisdictions. They are proposing to add new fees, which include fishing fees, summer and family passes, as well as holiday park entrance fees. This is in an effort to provide more options to our constituents. Next slide, please. Additionally, one back. Thank you. Additionally, Regional Parks is also recommending to revise some of their existing fees. And I would like to note that while these proposed changes may not achieve full cost recovery, it allows the department to recover some costs while maintaining a competitive fee structure. Any questions so far? Okay, next slide, please. The Project and Facilities Management Department is proposing a slight increase to their EV charging station user fee, which reflects anticipated cost increases from electric utility charges. I'd like to highlight that there is existing language in the fee ordinance that allows the director of the department, in consultation with our CEO, to adjust the fee based on actual cost up to an amount up to an increase of 25%. Next slide, thank you. Land Use Services conducted a review of their fees related to land development, code enforcement, as well as planning. And in order to lessen the impact to constituents as well as the business community, the department is proposing to cap the increase at a not to exceed 8%. There is a possibility that further increases may be needed in the future in future fee cycles. Other changes that Land Use is proposing includes the addition of new fees related to land development as well as code enforcement. Next slide, please. The Department of Public Health is another department that also conducted comparisons to other jurisdictions, and as such, the department is proposing to increase the federally qualified health center medical office visit fee. Sorry, that was a mouthful. To align with surrounding counties, and while it may not be fully, it may not achieve full cost recovery, it allows the department to recover a larger portion of the cost in order to provide this service. And as you may recall and may be familiar with, SB 1383, Food Recovery and Organic Waste Diversion Program, Public Health is proposing to add a couple of fees to comply with this law.
May I interrupt you, Paloma?
Sure.
So if we strive for full cost recovery on the FQHCs, will we work towards having the full cost recovery over time, or will we still remain under?
Yeah, if I could. So there's certain fees so the board direction through policy is full cost recovery. But there are certain fees that historically we have not gone after full cost recovery as a way to not burden the public with that level of cost. Both regional parks and public health, as Paloma mentioned, we do like cost studies to look at what other jurisdictions charge. Though we do those cost studies, we still ensure they're below the cost to provide that service, whatever we recommend the fee at, as a way to, in this case with an FQHC, ensure that it's still accessible to people who may need it without charging them what might be considered a pretty astronomical cost for them to access those medical services. So it's something we could talk about with the board, but this has been our practice and kind of in line with past direction received from the board.
This one in particular, Josh Dugas walked us through a little bit and even mentioned that even in accordance with state law, although we charge the fee, they have to provide the service regardless of ability to pay on one of these, and that's what state law even requires on these. So this is one where there are quite a few indigent folks that do come in for the service. This is a way of having them come in. He explained to get them signed up actually to Medi-Cal. It helps them to be able to charge and get some information based off of that. And so that's what they're trying to do with this fee.
Very good. Thank you.
Next slide, please. There we are. The County Fire Protection District is proposing to add a couple of permit fees related to its hazmat division. Additionally, the district is also proposing to revise, to revise a portion of their community safety and hazmat fees. These changes range from an increase of approximately 1% to 8%, and it is primarily attributed to board-approved MOU increases. Next slide, please. Notable changes for special districts include fees related to the Big Bear Alpine Zoo. Excuse me. which includes a slight increase to the zoo admission fees to help offset increases in operating costs. Of note, while these increases do not achieve full cost recovery, it helps the district offset some of the cost increases. Other revisions in the Big Bear Valley Recreation and Park District include increases related to room rentals and field preparation fees. Next slide. Additionally, Special Districts is also recommending to increase parking fees related to the North Etiwanda Preserve. Similar to Big Bear Valley Park and Rec, while these increases do not achieve full cost recovery, it helps the department offset some of these costs. I'd also like to note that the department conducted market studies and market comparisons to other surrounding counties and entities to ensure that the proposed fees are comparable. And with that, this concludes our presentation, and I'd like to open the floor for any additional comments or questions you may
Thank you
have.
very much, and to the entire staff too. It's a lot of work, and I know it takes a lot of time to go in through it, and even for our team to go through them all. So thank you very much for that.
Thanks so much.
Any questions or comments?
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, thank you for all the hard work, and I really appreciate for parks looking at the holiday fee. I know when my family goes out to private vendors, an RV spot for during the week, off season versus a holiday weekend can be 5 or 6 times as much. And to see that, we want to make sure our park's full and accessible for all our residents at the same time, those peak periods that we're able to adjust for the holidays and weekends and stuff like that. So I think it's a way. We're still not getting we're not paying for everything, but it's a way to evaluate. And in the private sector or the private parks are like 10 times as much as what we charge anyway. So I like that. I also, this is kind of fee-ish, but not really. It's a limitation on things. One of my constituents brought up that I know we allow people to live with a fee to live in a trailer while they build their home. But I don't know if there's any limitation on that. So sometimes those buildings get dragged on. So the way we could put on some of these fees that we're doing if we're able to put in time checks on those to make sure that progress is being made on the projects. So it's not just a permanent trailer encampment type of thing. That'd be wonderful. And lastly, on the green waste or whatever we're calling the new waste fees. I've watched this evolution from the legislature down to solid waste chair, whatever I was for a while. This is going to be a really impact to our residents. And literally, the state statute, if I'm not mistaken, requires us to inspect people's trash cans and make sure you're not putting your green waste in your trash can. And we're supposed to pay for that by fining our residents or that sort of thing if they're not doing that correctly. I'd really like to have an education campaign through our vendors to make sure that this is not us trying to be big government trying to come in and inspect. I mean, it's kind of spooky for me that someone walked through my trash cans, but nevertheless, that we're not doing this, we're following state law and put the attention back on those who put this law in. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Luther, any comments? Any thoughts?
Back in the days when I was an analyst, was responsible for fees for the county, and it is a huge amount of work, and I'm glad to not be doing that anymore. But I certainly appreciate all the work that staff and our departments put into getting to this point and the hearing 2 weeks from today. So thank you to staff. Thank you for all the work. And if there's any questions from individual board offices over the next few weeks, we'd be happy to working that into what we propose on the 25th.
Supervisor Cook has a comment or a question.
Veterans Day. Obviously, it's a very special day for a lot of different people. I think at least on that day, if you're a disabled veteran, there should not be any charge whatsoever. For obvious reasons. So if we can take a look at that, I think they deserve special consideration.
I am certain that your new director of Veterans Affairs would be happy to work with you on that. That's Matt Knox.
I'm sorry?
Matt Knox.
Oh, He wants to work with me.
Yes, he does. And Matthew would be happy to have him take that conversation.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
make
I'd
sure
be
he
glad
has a
to. Yes.
psychiatric examination before.
Very good.
Thank you all. So it's a receive and file, and we do not have any public comments on that item today. So thank you both very much.
Thank you very much.
All right. With that, we have no further discussion items. We will move on to general public comment for items not on today's agenda. We have 2 requests to speak. Our first one is by Joanne Jennis, followed by John Christiana.
Good morning, supervisors. Good morning, Kurt. On December 18th, 2024, Prop 36 went into effect. It's now the responsibility of our state, counties, and cities to implement this new law. There's a bit of obstacle with Prop 36. They failed to spell out the details of how the courts and other agencies would be enacting this new measure and how they plan on funding it. The governor's recent budget proposal does not provide funding specifically for implementing Prop 36. Has the board discussed how our county will fund the additional resources needed to implement this new law? Senator Seriardo, my district representative, brought to my attention by way of a social media post about a joint informational public safety committee hearing regarding Prop 36 that he spoke at. I watched this hearing because I had some questions on this new law due to my son's situation, which I'll explain later in my speech. Many panel speakers that represented different agencies discussed funding and resource concerns related to Prop 36 that they are starting to encounter. One speaker mentioned about a particular county having to delay processing those individuals waiting in jail for their treatment mandated assessments due to lack of resources. I've shared with you previously about my homeless, neurodivergent, drug-addicted son who's been arrested 25 times in a little over a 2-year period for possession of meth. Each arrest ended with him being cited and released after detained for a few hours. Although he's showing signs of mental health issues, he's not meeting all the requirements needed to qualify for the mental health programs. He is being seen by different outreach teams, but he continues to refuse their help. How do you get the many individuals like him off the streets and the help that they need? Currently, it looks like Prop 36 might be the only way. Here's the latest update on my son, December 26, 2024, and March 7, 2025. After Prop 36 went into effect, my son was arrested again for meth possession. He was cited and released without any convictions given. I was puzzled as to why this was happening. What am I missing? Well, I recently found some information that stated that Prop 36, that a wobbler misdemeanor can be used as an alternative offense instead of a felony. Can someone tell me if that is the case with my son? Will he ever get off the streets? Will he accidentally overdose again on fentanyl while he's out there? I can only hope and pray that this crazy cycle ends soon, and if my son ever receives a third conviction under Prop 36, that the resources are made available to him and he chooses the treatment mandated option, and it consists of no less than a year-long in-house program with wraparound services to follow. I've heard really good things about Cedar House and River's Edge Ranch, and I would love to see him get into one of those. I know you can't force these people, you're gonna have to, but I'm telling you, SWAG is going above and beyond trying to get my son the help, and I'm trying to work with him. I encourage everybody to listen to that Senate hearing that was held on February 25th, 25. It was so enlightening. They had judges, they had DAs, they had public defenders, they had sheriffs.
Thank you very much. Our last request to speak is from John Christiana. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Thank you. Good morning, supervisors. I'm John Christiana. I lived here in the county for about 7 years, and I'm here to talk about 2 things, actually. County agencies are putting the public at risk, I believe, or maybe it's just me, if you want to put that on the record. But the first thing is animal control, which is the county, and I'm a manager of an apartment complex, and we had tenants that were having dogs not on a leash, including a pit bull. And of course, according to our own ordinance, it's private property unenclosed, which is us, is exactly the same as public property. Anyway, the animal control came out one time and did the right thing and cited them, but then they refused to learn their lesson. I called animal control a second time. The first officer said I could, and yes, we'll take care of it. But the officer that came out the second time did nothing. And did not cite them and said, you can't do anything for 30 days. Well, I was attacked by the dogs. I've been in the hospital 5 times. I have infections and I had to get rabies shots. And this is all because the animal control refused to take care of the problem. So I have insurance, but there's a deductible. the bills some bills will be coming in, and I'll submit that to the county. But you need to decide what's the policy of San Bernardino County. Do you protect the public? And we have children. We have young children on the property. And I have pictures. I have videos, pictures, everything. And we have young children there, and the dogs are right there. And the county would not take care of it. So I don't understand that. And the second thing is the policy on arresting people for warrants at the sheriff's office, because we have had some tenants that are involved in some bad things, and I served them the eviction, and then later that day, the guy's turning off the circuit breaker, my lights. I call the sheriffs, they come out, and he's got 3 warrants for his arrest. They're misdemeanor warrants. He drives, it's on the court records. The courts of San Bernardino County call him a fugitive. Okay, the sheriffs are right there for a criminal complaint, and they don't arrest him. So what's the policy on that? Do we arrest for misdemeanor warrants or not? And so anyway, they said it's discretionary. And that's another thing I think the county needs to decide. Are we going to, he's got these citations for driving without insurance, he's got a criminal record, and driving on suspended license. So are we going to protect the citizens of the county or not? So those are, I think, 2 things we should look at. One is, do you arrest on misdemeanor warrants when they're dangerous to the community? And also, do you protect the public from pit bulls? When was a pit bull? There was actually 6 dogs total that attacked me. I got the video. I'll be happy to email you the videos. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you very much. That is the last request to speak that I have. Our meeting stands adjourned. Our next regularly scheduled Board of Supervisors meeting will be held here in Chambers on March 25th at 10 a.m. Thank you all.